You too. It's Tone back with another one. So this one here is a continuation of Meet Your Strawman. I mean, I threw a couple extra slides on here because the last one, that shit was finished kind of quick. I mean, the book looks big, but it really isn't. It's just a few words for each page. So just so everybody knows, I just started a Facebook group. Sovereign Productions 369 is right on Facebook. Game over. That's what the banner says on it. Game over. So we can start linking up on there. There'll be nobody offering services and nobody scamming nobody and none of that dumb shit. So I'll just be throwing shit on there, throw some files in there for everybody and stuff like that too. You know what I mean? So that's what I'll be doing. So just so you guys know what it is. So all right. So let's get started on this here. So the protection of the other people living near you. The restrictions are called the law, or more accurately, common law, right? And so that's what we focus on too. And so they are a few in number and very easy to understand. They are: you must not injure anyone or kill anyone. So I mean, you can define the whole universal law in 3 words: do no harm. Really that simple. Everything else is fucking man-made. The only real universal law is do no harm, right? So you must not steal or damage things owned by somebody else. You must be honest in all your dealings and not swindle anyone. The restrictions resulted from hundreds of years of disputes which have dealt with through using common sense and the opinions of ordinary people. They are the only limitations on you, and if you don't want to abide by them, then you need to go some isolated place and stay far away from other people. Right? So you have the right to be left alone and shit like that too. You know what I'm saying? So that's where common law comes into play. Is when you decide not to be obligated to perform by any of their commercial code statutes and things of that nature, right? So many people think that there are hundreds of other laws which they have to keep and new ones every other day. I mean, really, who gives a fuck what a bunch of assholes wrote in a book 100 years ago? I don't give a fuck. I didn't write it. You didn't write it. They didn't write it. So what the fuck relevance does that shit have in anybody's life? None. Absolutely none. That's like trying to bring the Bible into modern day times. You're talking about a book thousands of years old that you try to make relevant every day by trying to fucking bring up shit that isn't even relevant. Cut it out. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. So those other things are called statutes, and keeping them is optional for you. But they're human, but they are not optional for the fictitious straw man, and that is why the people who benefit from the fictitious straw man. That is why the people who benefit from those things want to persuade you to represent your straw man, and so become subject to all of their invented restrictions and charges. So I just had to lower the music. I always listen to music whenever I read these books and shit too. So if you ever hear me stumbling on words and shit, it's probably something crazy happening in my freaking ear too. So if you knew that they were optional, would you agree to them? Give most of your earnings away in taxes, similar charges, pay to own a vehicle, pay to own a television set, pay to drive on the roads that were built with your money, be forced to join the armed military if you are told to, send an army which is supposed to represent you into another country to murder innocent people. Come on, man. Come on, cut it out. So you can see what's happening here, man. They're fucking swindling everybody, trying to make them think that they have obligations to perform to shit that they do not have any obligation to entertain even. So, were you ever told that these things were optional? If you agree to represent your strawman, then these things become binding on you. These are some of the statutes which politicians keep inventing in order to make you poor and make them and their friends rich, and keep you in a position where you have to do everything they say, no matter how much that harms you and does away with your natural freedoms and rights. But says somebody we elect the government to represent us, so we have to do what they say. After all, they have our best interests at heart, don't they? Well, that is a nice thought, but it isn't actually true. It isn't. So you think that you elect a politician to represent you in your government, but that is not what they actually do. That is part of the very carefully fostered illusion intended to keep you in your place and giving most of your earnings away. Typically, 80% of all you earned is given away in taxes. So before you even get your check, that shit already got raped. So then, and then you're going to pay taxes on your meals when you go out. You're going to pay taxes on your gas. You're going to pay taxes. I mean, you don't pay taxes on food and shit, but I'm pretty sure they get you in some way, shape, or form on that. right? And every transaction is gonna have a tax freaking attached to it. Crazy. So part of the secret is that what is supposed to be a government is actually a privately owned for-profit company, and all that you do when you're voting is to help choose the serving officers inside that company. It will never make the slightest difference to what happens in the future, as the company policy and actions are controlled by the owners in the company, and they are not influenced in any way whatsoever by what you want, and nobody really gives a fuck. And so they just keep everybody thinking that they have a say by giving you a vote that nobody counts anyway. Really, nobody gives a fuck what you want. So it's just a fucking illusion, that whole voting process and all that shit. Come on. Really? So if you think that this is far-fetched, then check it out via Duns and Bradstreet, which I've sent a lot of you guys all of the Duns and Bradstreet registered corporation numbers for all the states and the fucking government and all that shit for that matter. They're all corporations. So they have no jurisdiction. They're an occupying military force here. They are not the government. The people who were born here are the government. These people are just occupying forces. That's it. And it's a privilege at that they're even being fucking allowed to still operate their fucking scam, even though everybody knows, which is on his way out too, by the way, mind you. So and so they're the ones that have the fucking privilege. It isn't a privilege for them to fucking let us do anything over here, bro. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Don't be stupid. So, if you think that this is far-fetched, then check out Duns and Bradstreet or any of the other place which records the setting up and the performance of the 160 million commercial companies worldwide. When you do that, you will discover, for example, that the United States is a commercial for-profit company. The United States Corporation is a private company. The non-Federal Reserve Bank is a private company set up in the year 1913, as if every court and every police force and even Congress is a company and not a person. Just in case you are not aware of it, the purpose of any commercial for-profit company or corporation is to make money for its owners and the shareholders, if there are any. The people who you think of as the government don't do anything that earns money. They instead take money from you. And that's their main job, is to make sure that you don't realize that they're in the same position as IBM, which takes away millions of your money, dollar every year. So why all the pretense of being a genuine government which you elect and who serves you? They don't want you to understand that they are just running a company which produces nothing of worth, something like a betting shop where almost every customer loses money, and waking up to the fact, unlike what you have been told all your life, that this is optional and that you don't need to play their rip-off game any longer unless you want to. And it really is optional. I told you, the devil can't come in unless you fucking invite him in. The motherfucker has to knock. But he'll make you think he can just come in your house. But if he does, then that's his ass. You know, I mean, we all got choices, and the consequences to all of these fucking choices. So if they decide that they think that they have that power and they come in your fucking house on some dumb shit, well, then you have the power to do what the fuck that you need to do too. You know what I'm saying? You have no obligation to let these people walk all over you. Get the fuck out of here. So they want you to be so burdened down with paying them money and working so hard and so long that you don't have the time, money, or energy to stop and think about what is happening to you and your family. They are desperate to stop you from just walking away from this scam, so they make every effort to connect you with the fiction of your straw man, because fictitious entities like commercial companies can't have any dealings with a real man or woman. They can only deal with another fiction like your straw man, and it is essential that they fool you into believing that you have to act on behalf of your straw man, which you don't. And this is why they try to make every fucking transaction that they ever have with you a fucking commercial transaction, because then they're trying to get you into their jurisdiction. So they ask you stupid ass fucking questions like, are you a resident? And shit like that. Resident is a commercial term. You either domicile or you inhabit a fucking location. If you're a resident, then you're a fucking then you're operating in commerce, and that's why they'll ask you, oh, are you a resident over here? Or give me your license. A license is a commercial license. Licenses are for commercial purposes. That's why they want you to have a license. If you don't have one of those, they cannot fucking engage you. Okay? So if you have one of their fucking state IDs or anything stupid like that, that's how they're going to try to bind you into being obligated to dealing with their fucking bullshit. You don't. So they have a number of well-proven methods of distracting and keeping you from finding out. They want you to see a great deal of entertainment, not because there's anything wrong with being entertained, but while you are being entertained, you will not be asking awkward questions. Also, they are very careful that most entertainment reinforces their make-believe world and makes it appear to be the real world, right? And so this is what they do. So they'll put the shit in movies and shit like that. Look, entertainment is an anagram of entrainment. It's the same exact letters, just mixed around. Entertainment is entrainment. So they're training you how to act and how to fucking respond to their fucking nonsense by making you watch movies of people getting locked up in court, people getting locked up by cops and shit like that. So now you're gonna manifest that whenever you come into contact with one of these fucking agents, you're going to act just like you were trained to in your entrainment or entertainment. They're fucking brainwashing you into fucking doing what it is that they want and manifesting what it is that they need you to fucking believe that you have to entertain in such a fashion, right? Come on, think about it. So where everyone is under the government, police officers uphold the laws, taxes are essential in order to keep things going, and things which are said to be bad for you are taxed heavily, not to make money, but supposedly to encourage you to avoid these things. But you will notice that they keep saying that their invented statutes are the law, which they are most certainly not the law. But if you say it often enough, people start to believe it and never think to question what they say, right? And then so they hire people to fucking do what it is that they want. So they can hire people to put on fucking masks and shit like that, right? Monkey see, monkey do. You know what I'm saying? So they'll be there hiring people to act how they want you to act, and then you're gonna start doing it on a subconscious level without even realizing that you got fucking tricked into fucking doing what it was that they wanted you to do. All right? This is what they're doing to you. So they also have another very effective technique, and that is fear. They want you to be afraid. Right? And so that's part of the trauma-based mind control. And when they have you vibrating at a low frequency, the suggestions that they offer at that point are going to become your new reality. This is how they're creating fractals and schizophrenic people and shit like that. That's all trauma-based mind control, MK Ultra shit. So afraid of the imaginary terrorists, afraid of the disasters, afraid of the new diseases, afraid of foreign countries, afraid of the economy doing badly and inflation rising. If you doubt this, then take a look at the news and count the number of positive, uplifting news items and the number of negative, fucking depressing news items. And you know that that's all that they push is fear and shit like that. That's all it is. Because when they get you into that vibrating at such a low frequency, then they'll be able to suggest a new fucking reality for you, which will be the one that they want you to manifest for them. Right? Because they don't have the energy to fucking create like we do. We are the creators, and they want us to create their fucking reality. Right? And this is how they're doing it. So it doesn't take much in the way of research to see a very heavy negative bias in the news. The reason behind this is to make you feel like you need a government and army to protect you from these supposed dangers. And I mean, the shit's all an act. I mean, if you think about it, when have you ever seen the military hiring for a fucking cameraman? These niggas ain't going to war and having. I mean, I've been in shootouts and shit like that too. No one around that motherfucker has time to be fucking recording with their goddamn phone. It doesn't happen. It will not happen. So stop. Don't be so fucking stupid. Don't be so stupid. You know, come on. So it is easy to keep the news and the items biased that way because all the major news agencies, the media outlets in the world are owned by only 5 or 6 privately owned commercial companies. Right? So to supposedly connect you to the Strawman, which they created for you when your birth certificate was registered, they use the legalese techniques of conning you with the name and the Strawman. But if you are ill-advised enough to go to court, which is a corporate place of business, as the accused, you will be asked to confirm your name, quoting the full name shown on your birth certificate, which is the legal personality. Titles such as Mr., Doctor, Reverend, Governor, Secretary, or whatever are not asked for as they are not required. The accused is actually the legal personality, which is the name on the birth certificate. So when they ask for the person's name, they are talking to the legal personality, the strawman, and not to the human. And that's what you got to know, is that they can't make any reference to you as the live living person. It's always going to be them talking about the strawman, which is the piece of paper that you should have in your hand whenever you go there. Because that's what the fuck that they're making reference to. It's not you as a person or a live living breathing soul. All right. So this is because a human cannot exist in the legal world. Only pieces of paper can, and that is something which they are very careful not to tell you. But I just did. So now you know. Right? So now you can't go in there on no ignorant shit because now you know too. So keep that shit in mind. Every time you go in there, bring that piece of paper because that's who they'll be making reference to. It's not to you. All right? So this is really a key issue. Natural law and common law are the only laws which apply to humans, and they deal only with the harming of other people and harming causing them loss. Outside of those restrictions, a human has free and unlimited entitlement to do anything he chooses which complies with these principles. As opposed to this, acts of Congress, statutes, and statutory instrument contracts do not apply to the human, but only to the piece of paper, which is the legal personality, which has no reality. As the legal fiction, the legal personality was created by the company called the United States Corporation. That company gets to say what the rights and duties are for that piece of paper, not you, but the piece of paper. They don't have the authority to make any fucking rules for you. Okay? So when a person is born in America and the mother and father submit a birth certificate registration form, which is a piece of paper, there is no requirement under common law to do this. When any limited company or corporation is set up, there is always a certificate of registration in order to create its legal personality, and that is a piece of paper. Please note that an American birth certificate states quite clearly that it is not evidence of identity, meaning that it has nothing to do with any human. Marked on it, and its U.S. copyright, clearly showing that it does not belong to an individual that was created by the state. This act of registering a child makes a child the ward of the court, and the child can be taken away from the parents at any time. But that's if you think that your child is a piece of paper. You can always forfeit the piece of paper and not your fucking kid. The legalese definition of words which sound commonplace can be found in Black's Law Dictionary, and the current edition is the 8th. So, and Black's Law is black magic. This is what the fuck that they do over there in these courtrooms. They're putting fucking spells on you people. Alright? This is what they're doing here. So, know that. Know what you're dealing with. They tell you that magic is bad and they're using it against you because you don't know what it is. I'm fucking telling you what it is. The legalese definition of the words which sound commonplace can be found in Black's Law Dictionary, and the current edition is the 8th. Interestingly, in legalese, you, the human, are defined as the monster, which shows exactly what the people who use legalese think of you. They're charming people, aren't they? You see that? A stranger is a fucking monster. A human is a monster. And you call yourself human? So, and I mean, a human's really a fucking clone and shit like that anyway. I mean, if you go scroll down, look at my old positive and negative bloodline video if you want to know what the fuck's really going on here. Alright, so another trick that they try to play on you is to imply that a summons is something which you must obey, while in fact it is only an invitation to attend their place of business. They are not inviting you, the man or woman, but instead they are inviting the legal personality to their place of business. And please know that there is a choice, as it is only an invitation. Okay, the legal personality is just a piece of paper, a birth certificate created by the commercial company called the United States Corporation, and it is not the human. They can't be forced. You can't be forced into contracting with them. So they have to deceive you into entering into one without understanding what it is that you're doing. They are using deception, as every judge's court is a trading name on the commercial company called the Department of Defense. And this is what I'm telling you. So they created a business called the legal system, which is against the law, but it's legal because they own the legal system. It's a fucking business. All right. So legal and lawful are two different things. Know that. All right. So it's the same thing as Walmart corporate policy and shit like that. That could all be considered legal if Walmart had a legal department, which would be their policy department. That's exactly what it is. So which does not have a parent company listed, meaning that it is the parent company itself. Legal people on being shown this company registration respond by realizing that if this is if this information is genuine, which it is, then the U.S. has been lawless for more than 100 years because the whole justice system is being dealt with by a commercial company. This is what the fuck that you're dealing with right now. So keep that shit in mind, bro. It is a game of chess. Stop playing checkers with these fucking assholes. That's what I got for you for now. Until we